Levi showed up in her thoughts as well, though never on the plains. He was always in a dark room, and Forrest sensed worry and more of that restlessness. The trouble with the cubs was they could convey some things remarkably well, and other times it was a struggle to interpret the images and emotions. Vivi settled in closer to the clansman's side and sent Forrest images of blue. Blue, Mo'ata moaned. Felix nodded to Forrest and shot a glance at the guard, who had led them to the hospital. Not much of a hospital. Where are the doctors, the nurses, the fancy machines that knit flesh back together and analyze blood at the touch of a button? The room was bare of carts and beeping equipment and rolling beds and tubes and such. There was a metal box, similar to the processing unit that was in the bathroom, in one corner near the wide doorway. No windows, but the air was clean, and the floor was a polished stone that reflected the light of the lamps. A Prizzoli rushed through the doorway. Behind him was a woman, her hair pulled back severely, holding a small box. Each of these newcomers wore a slim red armband, but there was nothing else to distinguish them. The man spoke quickly and harshly to the guard, glaring, and then shifted that frown to where Mo'ata lay. The bigger man had stopped mumbling, though his lips moved occasionally. The new man, who Forrest assumed was the healer, pushed the guard and Felix out of the way and motioned for the woman to place the box on the bed. Vivi sat up, sniffed the box, narrowed her eyes at the man, and snugged back into Mo'ata, her purr intensifying. With a soft snick, the woman opened the box and pulled out a small, round device, about the size of a hockey puck, and handed it to the man. Then she moved to Mo'ata's head and pulled his hand away from the wound, carefully peeling the cloth from his face. The puck gave a few beeps, and symbols that glowed a soft gold appeared on its surface. The man grunted and tucked it away. Next he examined the wound. It had mostly stopped bleeding, though with his probing the blood began to trickle out again, dripping down Mo'ata's pale skin. The man grunted again. He stood and spoke with the guard, his words growing more heated as the conversation went on. "Hey," Forrest said. Then louder, "Hey!" Both men spun to him. "What is wrong with him?" Felix moved beside him and translated into common. Forrest was struggling with the language. He had been doing well, but it seemed he had hit a wall. He could understand most of what was being said, but finding the words to use to speak was like getting his mom to stop making disgusting smoothies, hard and pointless. Frustration pulled the doctor's mouth into a fierce frown, and he glared at the guard, who shrugged and translated. "Ichi say cut not bad. Man has no energy. Very tired and may need boost. I say just rest, overwork." Jason ran through the doorway then, out of breath. His hair was wild and his coat only half fastened. "What happened?" He paled when he caught sight of the clansman. "Is he—" "No," though Forrest could see how Jason would make the mistake. Pale and still, Mo'ata looked near death, just as Levi had been when... Forrest spun to Jason. "Where's Philip?" It had been Jason's day to keep an eye on Philip's movements. Trayvon was watching over Blue. Tomorrow it was Forrest and Felix. The next day it was supposed to have been Mo'ata and Jason. That will need to change. "He's in his meditations." "With the elders?" "No, most left soon after he entered the temple." Besides a near awe for Bricka's sacrifice that bordered on worship, the Prizzoli had a full pantheon of gods and goddesses. Both major and minor, there were smaller shrines housed in most of the public buildings. The elders' quarters were actually just off the main temple. In addition to governing and guiding the Prizzoli, the elders were the caretakers and priests of the gods. Forrest's guide, Spencer, was a good man, and they'd gotten to know each other a little, each of them using what common they knew to fumble their way through conversations. He had even